friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something very different than I've ever done here before on my channel. I was asked to do this by a wonderful subscriber of mine, and I will be ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes I use throughout the year of 2024. I've thought about doing this in previous years, but it just seemed way too daunting. But typically, if a subscriber asks me to do something and I remember, I will do it here on my channel. Now, I struggled with exactly how to do this because last month I did my palette collection and declutter videos, and I decluttered over 50 palettes out of my collection, and a good handful of the palettes I used last year I've decluttered. So I was thinking, do I rank all the palettes that I used in 2024, even if I don't have them in my possession? I had feedback that yes, that's exactly what I should do. Or I was thinking, should I just rank the palettes I still have in my possession, because I'm going to be showing you the palettes? And I got some feedback that yes, that's how I should do things. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of both. I just don't have the time to go and hunt down pictures of the palettes that I decluttered and edit those and pop them up here. That takes longer than I think people realize. And because I have a full-time job, it's just, I'm trying to minimize the amount of time I'm going to be editing. And my plan was to do my makeup and dry my hair and be all cutesy and sit down and rank all these for you, and it's just going to take me too long. I thought about splitting this into 2 separate videos. I really don't want to do that. So I used 108 palettes in 2024. So from 108 to 91, those are all the palettes I don't have in my possession anymore. I will list those ranked in my description box in case you're curious to see what fell in the 108 to 91 spot. And then from palette number 90 all the way to palette number 1, I do have those in my possession, and I'm going to show them to you. Now, I was also going to pop up pictures of the looks that I created. And again, that's just too much editing. It's just too much. It would take me hours to edit that. So I guess what I would refer you to is my Instagram page. If you're on Instagram and you're not following me, if you're curious to see my looks. I mean, you may have watched my videos and you don't care about seeing the looks again, or you just, didn't watch the videos and you don't care about the looks either, whatever. But you can follow me there. It's Erica Conger _beauty. And then you can see pictures of the looks that I created. And also what I do every month is I review the palettes I used the month before, and I pop up pictures of the looks that I created during the prior month. So anyway, okay. So if you look behind me, my shelf looks like a ghost town because I took, of course, all my palettes off that I used, and they're stacked by rank, and holy cow. Now this is just for fun. I just went with my gut. I did this a few days ago, and then I just left the list alone because I thought if I keep looking at it, I'm going to move and change it. The reasoning behind the ranking is just how I feel about the palettes, how many times I use the palettes, my experience, the quality, the formulation, my sentimental love for the palettes. I don't dislike any of these palettes, or I would not have them on my collection. There's a couple I'm not sure that are going to be hanging out for a whole awful lot longer, but we'll see. So I do apologize for my freshly showered appearance. I kind of look like a drowned rat, but I just didn't have time to put my makeup on and film this and get to work on time, because I have to get to work on time. My goal is to briefly show you the palette and then move on, or we're going to be here for 3 hours and nobody needs that. Okay, so starting off with the palette that's in the 90th spot, and that is the LYS Unapologetic palette. And I got this in some friend mail from my dear friend Juvia. I've used it once. I thought it was lovely, just don't have a ton of experience with it, so that's why it's ranked last. Number 89 are the You Can Be palettes, the Mint Candy and the Fruit Punch. I got this in both of these in some PR from Temu. Hold on a second, let me get these opened. And they're all matte palettes, except each palette has one shimmer in the palette. There we go. These are lovely. They work really well. It's just in comparison to my other palettes in my collection, the mattes just aren't jaw-droppingly amazing. Okay, they work well. They're very affordable. I mean, I got these for free. I got them in some PR from Temu, like I already said, but they work well and I enjoy using them. They're just they're not mind-blowing. Number 88 is the Wayne Goss Pearl Moonstone palette. I've only used this once. I glued on some fake nails, and I know I can't open my palettes. I think this is gorgeous. It's very fancy. The packaging is very luxurious. Jan Van gifted this to me. Like I said, I've only used it once. And I do think the color story is beautiful. It's just maybe not as like eye-catching and holy crap as some of my other palettes are. Number 87, the Melt Muerte palette. Now this is a palette that may not be lasting forever in my collection because I don't love the way it performs. Some of the shades perform fine, some of them do not. I think it's a beautiful color story and the packaging is just incredible, but the performance, Number 86 is the Melt She's and Parties palette. Same type situation. Love the color story, love the packaging. I think this is a very sexy, seductive, va-va-va-boom color story. But I will say that some of the shades just don't perform all that wonderfully well. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee, get a little parched. Okay, number 85 is the Colourpop Fade into Hue palette. I've only used it, I think, once. And it's okay, it's pretty. It's a, rainbow palette, of course. And I like the fact that there's a lot of light, like soft pastels in here, even though I don't love pastels. But I do like the fact that this has got some good options in here. The one time I used it, I just was like, there's some really chunky pressed glitters in here that I know I will not use. But this is going to be coming in a multiple looks video and I'll have more of an idea of what I think of it, I feel like. I hope anyway. Number 84 is the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. This was a little tricky for me to rank. Like I mentioned, I don't love pastels, but these work really, really well. So now I'm thinking I should have ranked it higher. I've enjoyed playing with it, but I've almost decluttered it a handful of times because of the pastels, but they work well. Number 83 is the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette. I do think this is gorgeous, but I've only used it once. I used all the colors in the look, like I used them all together in the look, and I really like how it turned out. Very subtle, very soft, but the shades perform really well. Number 82 is the Natasha Denona Mini Zendo. I just felt like, oops, that's broken right there. Oopsie, I just fell it on the floor, darn it. I just felt like this is more my color story because it's a little bit more grungy. Beautiful, worked really well. I mean, I don't have any complaints about it. Just those two color stories aren't like, to me, but they're gorgeous. And Gianni gifted those to me, so they're very special to me. Number 81 is the Divina Fantasia palette. And Shawnee, my baby bear, she gifted this to me. It's beautiful. Used it once, need to use it again. I love the combo of shades in here. Really pretty. So I'll be using that again soon, hopefully. Number 80 is the Odin's Eye Sea Talk palette in collaboration with Lauren May. I think this is a gorgeous color story. I just get a little bit confused as to exactly what to do with it. But I've mentioned this before, 2025, I really want this to be the year that I use palettes in a different way than I've used them previously. So, and not a ton of experience with it, so that's why. Number 79 is the Spellbound Beauty Black Magic Bombshell palette. Gorgeous packaging. Hello. Now, I will say the shimmers in here are stunning. I've only used 3 so far. The mattes is what caused me to rank this palette lower, is just because I'm not thrilled with the mattes. I've used 3 of the mattes. Just, not super pigmented and just kind of not great. But the shimmers are amazing. So I do want to play more with it too and get to know it better. I've said that how many times now? Let's see, number 78 is the Allure 2 from Juvia's Place. Janny gifted this to me. And what I love about this is the depth and the hues of the blues in here. To me, they're just like dirtier blues than other blues I have in my collection, and it works really well. Used it once. 77 is the W7 My Atlantis palette. Now, I really like this. I was very impressed with how this palette performed, and honestly, I was shocked at how well it performed. But were a couple shades I've used out of here that aren't like jaw-droppingly amazing either. They're just a little kind of mediocre, so. 76 is the Unearthly Not Normal palette. This was tough to rank because I love this brand, and I do think this color story is just incredible. The quality, the formula is a little different. But I want to challenge myself to continue to play with this and hopefully like it more. If not, I'll probably declutter it. 75 is the Wander Beauty Trailblazer palette, and Charlie, Peanut Butter Beauty, she gifted this to me. I was very impressed with how this palette performs. Very impressed. Only used it once. But in that one time, I was very impressed. I really want to dive into like this half of the palette. I used more, well, I mean, I had to use this immediately, of course, because that's my color in an eyeshadow. That's me in an eyeshadow. But yeah, really fun. And like I said, very impressed with it. 74 is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This is, you know, a staple in a lot of people's collection. It's very neutral, but very elegant, very classy. Really easy to put looks together with this. I'm really looking forward to playing with it again. 73 is the Nomad Cosmetics Tokyo Harajuku palette. Now, I've thought about decluttering this, but the thing that keeps this palette in my collection are the rose shimmers down here. They are so gorgeous and so flippy and so unique and so fun. And Jan Van helped me to realize that this is a perfect palette to use as a companion palette. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I might even do a series where I grab this palette, randomly generate another palette, and use them together. Would you guys be interested in seeing that? If you would, let me know in the comment section. Let's see, I'm at 72. That is the Rain palette from Sample Beauty. Now this is a really lovely neutral palette. Everything works in here so well. I'm pretty sure I've used all the shades in here now. The only thing that was a little disappointing to me was that the picture of this palette on the website looked like maroons and olive greens, and that's not what this is, but works really well. Wonderful indie brand, Sample Beauty. Then we have number 71, which is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. And I love this. I love the mustardy golds. I think you can create a beautiful gradient with this palette, and it's very good quality. The color story being a little bit more subdued is really the only reason why it's ranked where it is. Number 70 is the Ladybug Glow and Gourmand Girls El Camino palette. Now, I love both brands, but this color story is very tricky for me to figure out. It's just, I mean, I do think it's beautiful looking at it. It's just, I don't know that I'm the right person to own this palette, to put looks together with this palette that will make sense. So I want to challenge, this is another palette that I really want to challenge myself to play with and get over my fear of it, because I look at it and I'm like, I don't know. Number 69 is the Star Wars Mandalorian The Child palette that my dear friend and subscriber Tara gifted to me. So cute. I love this color story. It's very earthy. It's very grungy. This palette works really well. I've mentioned before that Colourpop sometimes has palettes. I'm like, what'd you guys make this out of exactly? But this works really well, and I love having it in my collection. Number 68 is the Wicked Sisters New Wave Collection palette, Wicked Sisters Cosmetics. This is really gorgeous and really fun. I haven't filmed with this yet, but I have created one look with it so far, and I plan on pulling this onto my channel for a multiple looks video so you guys can see how cool it is. It's a great palette. Number 67 is the Moira Cosmetics Daydreams palette, Daydreams Dream Series palette. Now this came in an ice cream beauty box. I was not sure what to expect. I have been extremely impressed with how this palette performs. I think it's lovely. I'd like to get more from Moira. I don't need to. Number 66 is a combination of two palettes. I'm pulling in the Certified The Tropical Wonders palette, all matte palette that I love to use with my all shimmer palettes or my single shimmers, and I'm combining it with the Zoeva Matte Spectrum palette. This is an all matte palette that I've used on my channel before with single shimmers or all shimmer palettes, single shimmers or all shimmer palettes. And I just felt like I can't really rank one higher than the other. They're very similar to me in how they perform and what they do. And I like the fact that this is more muted and then this one's more bright, you know? So I thought I'd just maybe cheat and combine those. Number 65 is the Beauty Creations Ariel palette. Now, this has been in my collection for quite some time. I thought about maybe decluttering it. I pulled it into a Throwback Thursday video and just loved it. I loved it. And this needs a lot more love. So I really do want to use this in a multiple looks video. And I'm telling you, Beauty Creations is kind of like this unsung, really lovely brand. I highly recommend checking out Beauty Creations if you haven't yet already. Very affordable and beautiful products. Palette 64 is the Glamlite Hershey's Kisses Milk Chocolate with Almonds palette. This was gifted to me from Deb B. And I really thought I'd use it once and then probably maybe declutter it, like give it to my daughter or my niece or something. And no way, I love this. Rich, chocolatey, you know, gold rust. I mean, just such a beautiful neutral palette, and everything works in here so well. I think I used all the shades right when I used it the one time so far. Number 63 is the VE Cosmetics Kitchen Witch palette. This is a brand I've been wanting to try for so long. My dear friend and subscriber Lena loves this brand. I've seen her create some beautiful looks with their palettes, and so I picked this up. It was on sale. I think this is a really fun color story and unique. And this is one of those palettes I really want to challenge myself to step out of the box and combine these colors in a way that I wouldn't normally do or think to do, you know. Number 62 is the LA Girl Pro Mastery palette. I picked this up from Target a long time ago, and it still works really well. And I just think this color story is awesome. The wines, berries, neutrals, kind of salmon-y pink, and everything works so well. I mean, this is a very affordable palette, but I feel like the quality is like high end. It's wonderful. 61 is the I Heart Revolution Tasty Avocado palette. I've had this palette since before I started my channel, so I've had it for good 5 years, I would say, if not longer than that. 6 years maybe. Works great. It's beautiful. I love the tones in here. It's not the most amazing quality palette that I own, no, but it's pretty darn good, and it's just cool packaging, and love it. I'm never going to get rid of it, ever. Let's see, number 60 is the Glamlite Kellogg's Frosted Flakes palette. Now, this is such an awesome, unique color story, and I've only used the palette once. I did a cut crease with it, and that was so fun, and I felt like I really got out of my comfort zone when I put that look together, and I had a great time. It was wonderful. So this needs to be brought into a multiple looks video too. Number 59 is the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop Cotton Candy palette. Love this color story. It's taken me a while to get used to pinks and to fall in love with pinks, and I have. Such a wonderful quality palette. Oh, it's wonderful. And then number 58 is the BH Cosmetics Bubblegum Sweet Shop whatever palette. Lovely. So happy I picked these up. I have all of them except for the waffle cone, or I don't know, something like that. What is it? Oh, I think so. Number 57 is the Number 57 is the Natasha Denona Mini Xenon palette. This is gorgeous. It's so nice. It's such a lovely formulated little palette here. I kind of do wish that they had put 2 shimmers in here, but this silver shimmer is 56 is the Gourmand Girls C'est l'Amour palette. Love. I just used this actually for Valentine's Day, my Valentine's Day look. I used the pinks and the reds. I wanted a traditional Valentine's Day look, and you can definitely get that and much more from this palette. It is so beautiful. The black matte is lovely, and then the shade right here called We is my favorite shade in the palette. Then number 55 is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. Now, this was also kind of tricky for me to rank because I do think the shimmers in here are just whoa, but the mattes, the matte, not the quality, just the tones. I don't know. I just feel like this could have been jazzed up a little bit more with the mattes. Maybe I'm wrong. The shimmers are very jazzy. They're wonderful. I need to use all the shimmers in here. Number 54 is the Colourpop High Tide palette. Now, monochromatic, yet teals. Love teals. There's not enough teals in eyeshadow palettes, I feel like, or aqua, whatever you want to call this. This is such a wonderfully formulated Colourpop monochromatic palette. I could have ranked that higher too. Let's see, number 53 is the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette. Now, this was tricky for me to rank. I could have ranked this higher too, honestly. This is my Oregon palette. This is Oregon in a color story, and I think it works great. I've seen people rag on this palette. I love it. I love it. I think it works really well. I mean, you know, it's not number one, of course not, but it works really well. Number 52 is the Sample Beauty, the Jewel Tone palette. Now, this is a palette that I really need to get more use out of, because what I want to do is just use Moonstone and Diaspora because they're so gorgeous and flippy, and that like putty consistency. Oh, so beautiful. I just need to use all the shimmers in here. I still think I haven't used these two, right? I used those two finally. But isn't this a beautiful color story? And I love Sample Beauty. You don't hear anybody talk about Sample Beauty anymore. Love them. Let's see, number 51 is the Ladybug Glow Mysteriosa Quad. This was hard for me to rank, but there's only 4 shades in here. So that's why it's ranked a little lower than some of the other Ladybug Glow palettes I have in my collection that I used last year. Really fun though, really a fun palette to play with. And, you know, unique, and, you know, they're all so different, which is really fun to have. Number 50 is the Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette that they did in collaboration with Mel Thompson, who sadly is no longer with us, one of my favorite creators here on this platform and always will be. This is such an elegant, classy, beautiful, very well formulated palette, and you can do a lot with it. And I like the fact that there are neutrals, but some really pretty subtle pops of color, and the shimmers are just divine. They really are. 49 is the BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin palette. Oh, I love this. And I love the fact that the blues in here are more purple leaning. You know, you kind of got the purpley blue and the neutrals. Love this palette, so great. 48 is the Colourpop That's Taupe palette. This was hard for me to rank too. And the reason why it's a little lower than maybe some of you might have expected me to rank it is just, you know, it's just taupe. That's taupe. It's wonderful. And it's really a lovely palette to use if you're in a hurry, because everything works so well. It's easy, you know, just slap an eye look on and it looks great. Number 47 is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. Now, this was tough too, because I've only used this the one time. DW gifted this to me. It is gorgeous. It's gorgeous, you guys. The look that I created, I just loved, and I cannot wait to play with this again. And I want to use this in a multiple looks video because I've been lusting after this palette for so long. I want to give it its due here on my channel. Number 46 is the BH Cosmetics Naughty palette. This was their 2020 release. This is an old palette. It still works great. I'm really bummed that this shade fell out, of course, Candied Fruit. But just a really beautiful, varied color story. Neutrals, pops of color, just really one of BH Cosmetics' best formulated palettes, I would say. Number 45 belongs to the Glamlite Cake palette that Kimmy Poo gifted to me. Let me get it out of the box. I used this last year for my Valentine's Day look, actually. Such cute packaging, and I love this color story. I do wish that it was maybe, like, I wish it had a darker green and like a true dark, deep purple. But, I mean, you know, who cares really? It's still a gorgeous palette. I love having it. Thank you, Kimmy, for gifting it to me. Number 44 is the Ace Beauté Nostalgia palette. I collabed with Wilma Fingerdew using this palette. It's just this bright, bold, tropical stunner of a palette. And I'm really looking forward to using it again because it hasn't gotten near enough love in my collection. Number 43 is the XO Cosmetics Candy Shop palette. I picked this up not very long ago and have done a couple looks with it. I love the neon. I did a neon look and then a more blue icy look for winter, and loved both. Loved both. This is a brand that I don't hear anybody talking about, XO Cosmetics. It's a US indie brand that I wish more people would show love to here on this platform. Number 42 is the Ladybug Glow and Ice Cream Beauty Box End of the Rainbow palette. Now, one of the shades right here is a little broken. It's getting down here a little bit, so I need to be careful with it. Love the color story. It is a little trickier for me when I look at it to figure out exactly what to do with it. But what I do love is that even though it's a St. Patty's Day palette release, it's not just green, right? That's fun. Number 41 is the Fantasy Cosmetica Bard palette. Now, this was a gift for my 50th birthday from my dear friend Julie. This is so gorgeous. I love the primary colors in here. And this is another palette I really want to do something different with in 2025. I don't want to just stick to monochromatic looks. I want to do something really fun and funky with it. So that's my plan. Number 40 is the Martine Cosmetics 669 palette. This is ridiculous. It doesn't get near enough love in my collection. I really want to do a multiple looks video with this. I have a whole list of palettes I want to do multiple looks with in 2025. Gorgeous, vampy, sexy, just what the hell was that? I don't know. Love having this. Just need to use it more. Number 39 is the Nomad Whistler Snow Lodge palette. One of my favorite color stories that Nomad has put together. Perfect. Isn't it perfect? I think it's got all the goods in here that one could want out of an eyeshadow palette. 38 is the Blairdale MUA Cosmetics The Hunter and the Prey palette. So happy that Blair started their own makeup brand. Amazing. This has the earthy grunginess that I just love in a palette, and the shimmers are like that thick, rich, sticky, stickum consistency. Love, love, love. Number 37 is the Natasha Denona Rasha palette. I love this. This palette got some hate, got some trash talked about it, and I think it's gorgeous. Love the mix of tones in here. I really wanted to do something like out of my comfort zone or out of the box for me anyway with this palette. I did a 4 looks video and I think I did that. You know, I wanted to show that you could do some really unique stuff, but also some everyday stuff too. Love it. And it's a lovely formulation. Absolutely. Let's see, where am I? Number 36 is the Glamlite Dirty Martini palette. Love this color story. Earthy, grungy, olives, really like the murkier green tones of the color spectrum. So fun. Number 35 is the Glamlite Kiss palette. Now, I was not very kind to this palette at first because I felt like it wasn't as good as the Scooby-Doo Glamlite palettes, but the more I played with it, I really like it a lot. And this color story, I think, is just gorgeous. It's like more rock and roll. I mean, I don't know that it says Kiss exactly, but I mean, I think, yeah, it does. Forget what I said. I do think it says Kiss, and it works really well, and the formula is really nice. I just was really too hard on it at first. Number 34 is the BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast palette. This was released as part of the brunch series, I think, right, with the blueberry muffin. Earthy, grungy, olivey, but also a little different from the Glamlite Dirty Martini, you know? Like, they're not the exact same color story. And I don't care if they were. I love having these types of, like, the dirty greens in my collection. And this, of course, has got the most wonderful formulation quality. Number 33 is the Beauty Bay Bright palette. Now, this was recommended to me from my dear sister friend, Cheryl. And this is one of my favorite rainbow palettes I have in my collection. If not my favorite, I kind of vacillate between this and like the Love Tahiti and yeah, this and the Love Tahiti. Works really well, you guys. The shimmers are a little softer than other shimmers I have in my collection, but they're lovely, very elegant shimmers. And you know, you have every color you want basically out of the rainbow here, which is really fun. Number 32 is the Ladybug Glow Everyday Sparkle palette. And this was actually sent to me in PR from the brand owner. There's nothing everyday about this palette, okay? The shimmers in here will knock your socks off. I've said that so many times. And the mattes are really nice too. A very lovely, unique neutral palette. Abso-freaking-lutely. Number 31 is the P. Louise Watch the Queen Conquer palette. Now, this was a little tricky for me to rank because for quite some time, this was like my favorite palette in my collection. We have this side here, which is just gorgeous. And then we have this side here, which is my favorite side of the palette, which is more of the grungy, but yet fiery tones too. Really fun. And the formulation of this palette is top notch, I'm telling you. But I just got other palettes that have been really mind-blowing. I do kind of want to rank that higher, but I'm just leaving it alone. Number 30 is the Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening palette from Mandy Makeup. This color story is just incredible. Another one of those palettes where I kind of want to lean more monochromatic, but I haven't. I really haven't done that. And I've done a couple looks with this, but yeah, this needs to come in a multiple looks video too. I would love to get more palettes from Mandy Makeup. This really is one of the most unique color stories I have in my collection. Absolutely. Number 29 is the Menagerie Cosmetics Sugar High palette. That's a sugar glider on the front. Isn't that cute? Now, I got this because Shawnee, my baby bear, she'd used this on her channel and blew me away with how gorgeous her looks were and how this performed. And so I thought, okay, I'm getting it and love it. I love it. It's such a beautiful palette. And like, I love how bright like this pink is, and like the shimmers in here almost look like they're electric, like they're plugged in. Amazing. Number 28 is the Stone Cold Fox palette from Colourpop. Tricky for me to rank this because it's my favorite neutral palette in my collection and my favorite palette from Colourpop. There goes a lot of cat hair. Geez, what was that? That was weird. That almost looked like an astral spirit thing or something. That was weird. Anyway, moving on. This is such a lovely formulated palette from Colourpop, and it's got all my cool toned needs and wants in one spot. Love. Number 27 is a Lethal Cosmetics palette that I put together myself. This is an all shimmer palette. It's all shimmer palette. And I just wanted more shimmers from Lethal, but I didn't want a ton. So I just went on and grabbed 6 and made a little palette out of them. I think one of these shades though, I think is in the Evergreen palette from Lethal. So I have 2, but I can't remember which one it is. And I should go and compare, but who cares? I mean, who cares? Just eyeshadows. But I'm telling you, performs like a charm. If you've never tried Lethal, highly recommend doing it because, whoa. Number 26 is the Ladybug Glow and Gourmand Girls Paradise Cove palette. I like this much better than the El Camino. I just think it's a gorgeous color story. It's got the colors in here that I really prefer to use. Blues, greens, even this kind of pukey yellow green shade. And I feel like when I look at this color story, I'm home. The El Camino, I'm like, huh? Head scratcher. Let's see here. Number 25. Yeah, we're at 25. Top 25 is the Unearthly Strawberry Milkshake palette. Hot damn. I love this. I think it's so gorgeous. It's one of those palettes, I just keep saying this, I feel like, that's a challenge for me. I just want to go monochromatic when I see it because that would be easier, but I want to challenge myself to really get out of my comfort zone with this and do something fun. Quality is, and okay, back up. Just let me say one more thing. I was so shocked with the Not Normal palette not being the same quality, I don't think, as this palette. I was really shocked and kind of sad that that was the case, but again, need to play with the Not Normal palette a little bit more. Number 24 is the BH Cosmetics Sweet Shot Pistachio palette. This is a lovely green color story and was my favorite green palette in my collection until another one kicked it out of that spot. But this will always have a very special place in my heart. I love green eyeshadows the best, and this is really lovely, and I'll keep it forever. Number 23 is the Ladybug Glow Creatura palette. Such cute outer packaging. All of her palettes are. And isn't that lovely? Lovely color story. It does make me go a little bit. I did do a 2 looks video with it. Really like the looks that I put together. Quality and formula is top notch. You can't beat Ladybug Glow formula. You just can't. Number 22, right? Yeah, 22 is the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti Stacey Marie Be Perfect Cosmetics palette. I worship this palette. I cherish this palette. It is so gorgeous. It works so well. It's so fun. I love the options you have in here. I mean, I do kind of wish maybe there was a little bit more blue in here and like a real true red. Well, there kind of is, but you know, that's me getting real nitpicky. I don't need to get real nitpicky with that palette. Number 21, yes, is the Glamlite Rick and Morty palette. I'd seen this on their website and was going to get it, and then it was sold out for a long time. And the minute this restocked, I'm like, I'm getting it. I've only used this once. This has to come in a multiple looks video. It is so beautiful, works so well. Number 20 is the Blend Bunny Longing palette. Cool tones, gorgeous, such a wonderful formulation. I haven't used this nearly enough either. This has got to come in a multiple. I mean, can we just add a few more days to the week? That'd be great. And a few more hours to every day. And I have a few more eyelids. That'd be wonderful. Number 19 is the Beauty Bay Earthy palette, the 42 pan. Hello. Hello, palette. I love you. I love the greens, of course, and I love the grungy earthiness too. I mean, this is perfect color story for earthy. And it's just one of the best formulated palettes I have in my collection. Number 18, I pulled 2 palettes together, the Krampus palettes from Ladybug Glow, Krampus Eve and Krampus Continued. This is Krampus Continued. Really a cool, unique holiday release, color story-wise. And then this is Krampus Eve, another very unique palette. We've got all mattes, and in the center is that like multi-chrome shimmer shade. And I use these together. That's why I'm putting them together. So again, that might be cheating, but I love these so much. These were hard to rank for sure. Number 17, the Melt Amor y Mariposas palette. And this was a gift from my Andy girl. This palette means the world to me for many reasons. This color story is so freaking awesome. And the quality is really lovely. That's, I think, what throws me for such a loop with the She's and Parties and the Muerte palettes, because the quality of those is not great. It really, I don't know. I don't think so anyway. And this is just, and this will always be so special in my collection. Number 16 is the Blend Bunny Lure palette. I love how this palette is laid out, which I talk about every time I show it, like monochromatic by columns. And I like the fact that it's so matte heavy. I do. These shimmers are just so good. Number 15 is the Cosmic Brushes or Beauty Cool Trolls palette. Now, this I need to use more. I do need to use this more. And I kind of was harsh on this too at first. I don't know why. This needs to come in a multiple looks video. So really the ranking of this is more so that I think the color story, because I just don't have a ton of experience with it. And maybe that isn't fair. Maybe I should have ranked it lower, but anywho, moving on. Number 14, I'm combining two palettes together again, is the Scooby-Doo palettes from Glamlite. I use these together. That's why they're looped together. I just figured if I used them together, might as well just rank them together, right? These are my favorite palettes that I own from Glamlite. The formulation is out of this world, and I think the color stories are so cool. And it was really fun to use these together. I don't know why I'd never thought to do that before. I'll do it again. That's for damn sure, because so good. Number 13 is the Cosmic Beauty Gothic palette. All purples, but such a wonderful range of purples. You know, you've got the dark, the medium, the light, some multi-chrome goodness going on in here. And the quality, amazing. Hold on, let me switch this around. Number 12 is the Colored Rain Wealthy Chic palette. This is my favorite green palette now in my collection. It's 6 pans. So you think, oh, that's kind of dumb. Why would you have this be higher than the pistachio, the quality? And the pistachio is such a good quality palette. So if I'm saying that this is better, then that's saying a lot. I'm so glad I picked this up. It is so gorgeous. And I need to do more. It's that thing I have where I don't want to touch it because I want it to stay perfect. Dumb. Number 11 is the Nomad Cosmetics Fire and Ice palette. One of the most unique color stories from Nomad, and also that I have in my collection. This was gifted to me from Steph, my best friend and sister. And I wasn't going to get it because I thought, I don't know what the hell to do with that. And now I know what the hell to do with that. Top 10. Are you ready? Number 10 is the Ladybug Glow Murky Waters palette. I just love the tones in here. It's so fun to play with this palette. And the shimmers in here are just jaw-dropping. And the mattes are so lovely too. This is like such a well-curated, beautiful eyeshadow palette. I love this. This was hard for me to rank in the 10th spot. I could have ranked it higher, but I'm leaving it in the 10th spot. Number 9 is the Beauty Moon Cosmetics Once Upon a Time palette. Love the outer packaging. This is definitely a very fairy tale type color story to me. I think you have all the color elements that you would need in a fairy tale. And the quality, Beauty Moon Cosmetics, do not sleep on this brand. Okay, I've said that so many times and I mean it. I got some cat hair. There's just not enough good things I could say about Beauty Moon Cosmetics. Number 8 is the Ladybug Glow in collaboration with Blairdale MUA Castle of Horror palette. Can I open it? Yeah, there we go. Beautiful, vampy, rich, decadent, opulent color story. This shade right here, Castle of Horror, is my favorite. It's got that flip from red to purple. Red, purple. I have had so much freaking fun with this palette. Number 7 is the Nomad Cosmetics Royal Europe palette. Now, this was my favorite from Nomad until something else beat out this palette. But it is so good. The jewel tones in here, number 1, are so fun, but then the shimmers down here are so unique and beautiful and thick and rich and sticky and amazing. And Nomad just knocks it out of the park. And this was one of their best releases, in my opinion. Number 6 is the Ladybug Glow Pond Lily palette. One of my favorite color stories in my collection. This just feels good to look at it. You know, like I feel good inside when I look at this palette. I have had Again, so much fun playing with this. I have so much fun playing with all my Ladybug Glow palettes. And I want this to come in a multiple looks video. God, you just put me on repeat every palette I show, basically, right? Number 5 is the Beauty Moon Cosmetics Divergence palette. This is just incredible. Look at how fun and unique and different this color story is. And the formula is just mind-blowingly amazing. Number 4, Titanium Fox's Poppy Storm. I'm telling you, this brand is going to hit the makeup world by storm if it hasn't already. I didn't mean, that was no pun intended. Poppy Storm hit the world by storm. Anyway, I didn't mean to sound like a complete goober, but I do quite often. Okay, talk about the palette. Gorgeous. Formulation is top notch. Everything just jives so well together in this palette. I mean, look at how unique and interesting and very intelligent, thought out color story in here. And the formula, watch out. Okay, top 3. Are we ready? Do you guys think you know what they are? If you think you know what they are, pause the video right now, go to my comment section and put what you think are in the top 3 and let's see if you're right. Number 3, Beauty Moon Cosmetics Cosmology palette. I did struggle with this and the Divergence because I really like, I love all my Beauty Moon Cosmetics palettes, but this to me is just, I don't know. I want to dive into this color story. And I like the fact that there's a black matte. I don't know. This combination just really gets me right in my makeup loving gizzard. It's so beautiful. Number 2, Undergrowth Cosmic Brushes / Beauty. Earthy, grungy, my favorite type of color story. And the formulation is out of this world, you guys. I don't know. I mean, I really could declutter all my other earthy, grungy palettes and just keep this. I won't, but I could because I have everything I could possibly want and need in this palette and in terms of grungy, earthy. And the formulation is just, I adore this palette. Number 1, you ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? Nomad Stargazing palette. Nomad New Zealand Stargazing palette. This palette absolutely took my life and flipped it upside down. I mean, that's dramatic, but seriously, it is so good. It is so good. I was not going to get this palette. And then Steph and I were on a video call and I'm like, what do you have on your eyelids? And she said, it's the Nomad New Zealand Stargazing. And she's like, you don't have it? I said, no. And she goes, I really think you should get it. And I'm like, all right, twist my arm. So I got it. One of the best makeup purchases I've ever made. This is so freaking amazing. The color story, everything is just so like cool in here. And the shimmers are just flippy and different and unique and jaw-dropping. I absolutely adore and love this palette, and it had to be number 1. It just had to be. And this needs to come in another multiple looks video. Oh my God, I do need to just, if I could live on air, I would quit my job and just do multiple looks videos all day long, every day, right? Wouldn't that be fun? I'd probably get sick of it. But anyway, okay, so that's how I ranked the 90 palettes that I used in 2024. And then, of course, like I said, I'll have from 108 to 91 listed in my description box. Just too much editing for all that. What do you guys think? Do you think I did a decent job? I think I did. I mean, I'm happy with how I rank things. I don't think I would change anything. I mean, yeah, there's some things I could have moved maybe higher or lower or whatever, but I'm happy with what I did. And I think I'm going to continue to do this in the future, to rank the palettes I used from the year before. The subscriber that gave me that idea, I want to say a huge thank you. I adore you. Thank you for that wonderful suggestion. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I really had a lot of fun doing this. I thought I would be a nervous wreck ranking these, but I just went with my gut, ranked them, and bada bing, bada boom, here we are. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.